Our featured speaker, the Honorable Orville London, was born in Palatavere, Tobago, where he spent his early childhood. He obtained his primary school education at the Wim Anglican Primary School and a secondary education at Bishop's High School in Mount Mary, Scarborough, Tobago. After graduation, Mr. London pursued an undergraduate degree at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus, graduating with honors in history and sociology. Mr. London then embarked on a teaching career which spanned 23 years, climaxing with a 6-year stint as principal of the Signal Hill Senior Comprehensive School. Mr. London also taught international relations at various secondary schools throughout Tobago and lectured at the UWI School of Continuing Studies, Tobago campus. This after successfully completing postgraduate studies in education and international relations at his alma mater, UWI St. Augustine. Mr. London has always been passionate about sports and has held key positions in the Tobago Football, Cricket, and Lawn Tennis associations over the years. His wide interests also extend to journalism, and as a past sports editor of the Tobago News, he was able to marry these two passions into one career. In 1995, Mr. London entered the political domain as a senator in the Parliament of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And in 2001, he began his first term of office as the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Mr. London is currently serving his 4th consecutive term as Chief Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Honorable Orville London.
Thank you very much, Chris. Let me take the opportunity to recognize the presiding officer of the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. Kelvin Charles. I'd like to recognize the Secretary General of the Caribbean Tourism Organization and a very good friend of Tobago and all the tourist destinations in the region. I'd like to recognize in her absence the Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary of Tourism, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine, who is in Europe at this time attempting to ensure that we are able to get more flights coming into Tobago, and I want to wish her success. The Administrator in the Division of Tourism and Transportation, Mr. Oscar Braffith, and other administrators and senior THE officials, presenters, conference participants, members of the media. A special recognition to Pleasure Pirates. When I listen to them, it's just another reason why I'm proud to be Tobagonian. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to be here with you at the opening of this very important conference themed Achieving High Performance in Caribbean Tourism in the New Networked Work Environment. I must extend a warm Tobago welcome to the Secretary General of the CTO, Mr. Hugh Riley, and to all our Caribbean brothers and sisters who have taken the time out to join and share with us as we seek to grapple with this critical issue. And for me, it is always gratifying when the people of the Caribbean take the opportunity to meet, to share experiences, combine expertise, devise strategies, and execute programs that will ensure not only that we survive, but that we develop in a dynamic and increasingly competitive environment. In fact, the theme of this conference speaks to one of the major challenges facing the industry at this time. We have to satisfy the discerning visitor who wishes to experience all the simple pleasures, all the natural ambience, all the scenic beauty, and the hospitality of our people that we advertise in our brochures. but at the same time, is not prepared to be inconvenienced by communication and other challenges. We have to train and sensitize our employees, our stakeholders, and our citizens that if we do not get on board with the technology, the ship will sail to another port. And if I may quote from the CTO website, in today's work environment, employees are expected to be technologically savvy, to understand how their work environment can be improved through the use of technology, and how they can become more productive and effective as a result of utilizing the various resources from desktop software to smartphones and digital gadgets. I want to say to us that this task is not as simple as it seems. I'm not aware of the situation in other destinations, but quite recently, the Secretary of Tourism expressed concern that too many of our smaller properties have still not been convinced today, even of the advantages of advertising on the internet. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the environment in which this conference has been conceptualized and in which the discussions will have to be conducted. We have to accept the fact that in many of our islands and on many of our properties, there is significant catch-up to do, and one of the main objectives of this conference must be to devise strategies to ensure that the relevant recommendations, brilliant ideas, the essential programs are implemented. I am certain that most of us have had cause to lament, even at similar CTO conferences, the number of brilliant ideas and relevant recommendations that have been left to languish on the discussion floor. I am confident that the presenters will be professional and effective, and that the discussion will be lively and fruitful. But I would like to suggest that the success of this conference can only be evaluated based on its impact on the people outside of this room, in the world outside of this room. Because in the early days of my stint as Chief Secretary, I used to attend the CTO conferences, and I hope I'll be able to attend at least one more before I depart. But one of the things I recognize at these conferences is that there was a difference between what I call the regional conference posture and the individual country posture. And a lot of things that people spoke about and really, commented on and bought into at the conference, when they got home, the situation changed. And I'm saying that at this gathering, we have human resource professionals from both the public and private sector. There are tourism educators and so on. But I think you all have got to operate on the premise that the environment in this air-conditioned, nice building over the next 3 days is going to be very different from the environment out there. And therefore, your biggest challenge is how do you translate what goes on here into the kind of message and the kind of mode of transmission that will allow it to have an impact on the people out there who might not necessarily be as enthusiastic about all of this as we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I was especially heartened when I recognized the emphasis placed on developing not just an enabling work environment, but in ensuring that those who interface with the visitor are able to function efficiently and effectively while maintaining their self-esteem and embracing opportunities for self-improvement. I am one of those who remain convinced that self-interest is one of the greatest motivators. And any industry that can convince its employees and stakeholders that their circumstances will improve on a consistent basis, that industry is likely to engender the level of loyalty, enthusiasm, and commitment that will guarantee success. I'm also heartened by the deliberate decision to involve the young people. And I hope that it will provide them with an opportunity not only to be informed, but to inform the process. Because what we're dealing here is their comfort area. And there are nuances about the communicating to the young that the not so young will never grasp. And I'm hoping that we will continue to involve them even after today and recognize that this is one area that maybe they can teach us more than we wish them to learn. Conference participants, no one in this room needs to be convinced of the importance nor the timeliness of this conference. Many of our regional economies will collapse if we do not get our tourism story right. And if we allow the destination to be overwhelmed by the offerings of those countries that have less to offer, but package it better. I am told that according to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the combined direct and indirect contribution of tourism to the Caribbean economies in 2013 was about 14%. Furthermore, the Tourism Council has also indicated that tourism is a significant employer in the region and is expected to provide 11.3% of total employment in 2014. In Tobago, the statistics are even more revealing. Tourism's contribution to our GDP is as high as 36%, and the sector is responsible for the creation of approximately 14,000 jobs in a population of 60,000 persons. This is truly a survival story for us, and we have got to get it right. Not just this time in this place, but every time, in every forum, in every place. We must be able to respond effectively and expeditiously to the challenges emanating from the structural weaknesses in the economies of some of our source markets, and the fact that many of them have now become even more aggressive competitors. The tourism sector might have to become even more assertive in convincing Caribbean decision makers, especially at the highest level, that the survival and development of the countries of the Caribbean are still linked to the level of collaboration and cohesion that they're able to generate among themselves. We in this room must be strident in our recommendation for united effort and action from the leaders on the decisions taken. We have to accept that delay and vacillation can create scenarios that make a mockery of all that we are trying to do and will be doing over the next 3 days. For example, I was alarmed when the Honorable Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, reported that despite her suggestion, the Caribbean leaders have decided that they will not meet until November to discuss a regional response to the Ebola crisis. I am in total agreement with the official who cautioned that one case in the region, especially if not properly managed, could signal unmitigated disaster for the tourism sector throughout the region. All African countries are being branded, quite unjustly, by the situation in a few West African countries. The situation will be no different in the Caribbean, and the quality of our response, the urgency of our action, and the integrity of our efforts are everybody's business. It is not on the agenda, but I will suggest that it is our business here too. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference has significant potential. Quality of service, added to the wonderful real estate that is the Caribbean, will ensure that we can continue to not just hold our place as a premier tourist destination, but to improve our overall performance. Participants, we cannot overemphasize the need for innovation, constant product improvement, and the training and sensitization of all our stakeholders if this industry is to thrive, and therefore lead to a better standard of living for the people of the region. I am proud and pleased that so many of you are here attending this session. And I wish you a very successful conference, because its success will redound to the benefit of the entire region. And as any leader in any of the countries or islands will do at this point in time, I invite you to take some time off to experience the island in all its facets and all its beauty. And to those of you from the other islands, I urge you to be fair in your comparisons. Thank you very much.